Jets fans, welcome back to a new session of Jets Talk here on Knicks Bros TV. This video is just most likely going to be a little bit of a rant, kind of going to get into the free agency a little bit, also get into the draft, the positions that we need, the positions we should, try to acquire during the free agency rather than the draft to be able to save money. Right now, we're sitting on a really good amount of cap space. Thank goodness we're under a new regime of Mike McKagan, where I feel like our money's going to be spent and spent the right way, rather than the madness that we went from John Itzik. I'm going to bring up something where in a lot of my videos, and I guess one other video I brought it up, and it's just a comparison. I just can't believe Geno Smith, for the bum that he is on this New York Jets team, is still considered as a quarterback. And I totally get it. Todd Bowles coming in as a new coach. He wants to be able to give everybody the opportunity to be able to shine, be able to, maintain a position, get a chance for the position, and not come out there and just, say who his quarterback is. Obviously, it's way too early for all that. But, for the type of season that Geno Smith has had, the fact that, going into this season right now, he's a quarterback, it makes me just... think, why the heck is this guy still having an opportunity for the type of season he has had? Because, Geno Smith has regressed since his rookie year. He had a decent rookie year. And a lot of it isn't a knock on Geno Smith overall. I mean, he was under the Rex Ryan coaching staff. Rex Ryan has known to butcher his quarterbacks, although I'm a huge Rex Ryan fan. I think he did a lot of positives for the team rather than negatives, but the negatives that he had for the team were obviously something that is part of the team right now. One of the best comparisons that I like to do and just show how our franchise kind of got turned around during the John Itzik era and Rex Ryan era. I like to go back to Mark Sanchez. And I want to show you guys a couple of stats. So Mark Sanchez started his career with the New York Jets in 2009, where he was drafted. He had a really rough year that year. I mean, you got to think about it. He came off the Mangini era. We got Rex Ryan just taking over, so everything was fairly new that year. He went 196 for 364. Quarterback rating of a little bit over almost 54%, 2,404 yards thrown, 12 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, quarterback rating of 63%. Then in 2010, when we went to the AFC Championship, this is a guy that has only been in the league in 2 years. So the fact that he did this, and although I gotta say he had more weapons than Geno Smith had, while he was in his position. And that's also a benefit to Mark Sanchez. So Mark Sanchez in 2010, he went 278 completions, 500 times he attempted it, and then he had a quarterback rating of 54.8, 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He's progressing. Okay, and a quarterback rating of 75.3. In 2011, he went 308 for 543, completion rating of 57, 26 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, 78.2 rating. That's what I'm looking at, is progression. Now, I'm not going to sit here and argue, I'm not going to sit here and argue the fact that Mark Sanchez was an amazing quarterback. No, he wasn't. He turned the ball over a lot. He actually fumbled more compared to Geno Smith. But as far as the attitude, he's much smarter than Geno Smith. And again, I'm comparing Mark Sanchez of 2010, 2011, not the Mark Sanchez we see now in the Eagles. You can't sit here and judge a quarterback based off of, we can sit here and look at Drew Brees in San Diego and compare Drew Brees as soon as he came to New Orleans. Still two good quarterbacks, but he's much more elite. He was much more elite in New Orleans compared to he was in San Diego. Whether if it was his playmaking or the supporting staff he had around him. Now we'll look at Geno Smith. In 2013, everyone actually thought that we're going to have a really bad year. We did go 8-8 that year. I managed to go to one game to be able to see that game, which was amazing because that was against the Falcons, and he had a comeback, so that was kind of cool. So 2013, 247 for 433 yards, completion rating of 58%, 3,000 yards he threw, 12 TDs, 21 interceptions, and a rating of 66.5. And in this year, where he lost his quarterback position a couple of times against the Michael Vick, that wasn't Michael Vick. I mean, Michael Vick struggled the entire year. So for the fact that he lost his, quarterback position to Michael Vick over and over again this season, and Geno Smith went 219 for 367, and then 59.7 completion rate, 2,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. And he missed a lot of games this season. The biggest thing that comes to perspective for me with Geno Smith and Mark Sanchez is they have a lot of things, in common. They're both mentally weak to be able to play for the New York Jets and, go against the media and the fans. So, but one thing I want to say is I just don't think Geno Smith is, smart enough to be able to read those plays, and be able to be what we want out of him. I think the best thing where Geno Smith is, if he uses his talent rather than wanting to just stay as a pocket quarterback, he might be better off. But I just can't see Geno Smith going any further next season. But, Todd Bowles, I hope he's able to, put in a couple of good coaches in place for us to be able to improve him. But again, if I were to make that decision, I wouldn't even try drafting a quarterback. This quarterback draft class, I mean, to me, they're all suspect. I don't like Mariota. I don't think we should pursue Mariota. I don't like Jameis Winston. I don't think he'll be able to mentally. He's not prepared to play in the NFL. And there's a list of other quarterbacks that I just don't think this year is the right draft class for us to be able to go into and draft a quarterback. I think what this year is we're just going to try to patch up all the wounds that we do have and just go out there and try to play for an 8-8, 9-7 season, just for us to be able to get the chemistry going, be able to, make this team attractive again. There was a lot of controversy why the Jets pursued Todd Bowles. We're not, after the circus that we've had, this is not a very attractive team to play for, although it is still New York. It is all that, so for you to be able to coach it. But I think Todd Bowles was the right move. Staying around for Dan Quinn wasn't probably the smartest decision, just for the fact that the Falcons were still in the market. You don't want to sit here and count on a coach that's still going to Super Bowl to see whether he's going to come and coach your team or not. So either way, I think we took advantage of the hirings that we had. More than anything, I'm really impressed with Mike McKagan now. I've listened to a lot of interviews, and I just love the way he carries himself and is able to manage the interviews he has had. So I think going forward, for us, firing those director of scouts and being able to replace them with people that know exactly what they're doing is definitely a positive. For the free agency, what I like to do is I like to, just get a veteran quarterback. Not even necessarily a veteran quarterback, but someone that's been in the league 1 or 2 years, kind of knows exactly what's going on. And the two people that I'm really looking forward to is one is Brian Hoyer, and the other one's going to be Ryan Mallett from Houston. I think more than anything, I think Brian Hoyer will be able to bring that veteran mentality to the New York Jets. He did have a off and on season with the Cleveland Browns, but it's never easy for you to constantly look over your shoulder. That's how I feel like, Mark Sanchez forfeited his career with the New York Jets, is when we brought in Tim Tebow and he constantly looked over his shoulder. So, and then worst come worst, maybe I will consider Colt McCoy. Again, it's not very attractive right now, whether if it's the draft or the free agency as far as quarterbacks are concerned. But that's exactly what I want to do for this season. Again, I'm not going to the season wanting to go 12-4, 11-5. I think it's a lot of detailing that needs to be done on the offensive side of the ball for us to be able to, especially on the defensive end. Defensive back side of the football too, to be able to be contenders. We have been linked with C.J. Spiller, the running back for the Buffalo Bills. I think, with Chan Gailey coming in, that's a positive for us to be able to acquire C.J. Spiller. I really love this move because I want Chris Johnson out of this team really bad. I think C.J. Spiller and also Chris Ivory will be a really good 1-2 match. You got a power running back, and then you got a speed running back that's able to catch the ball as well, someone like C.J. Spiller. So I think that would be a really good matchup. So I'm really counting on that. If we can't get C.J. Spiller, Jacquizz Rodgers from the Atlanta Falcons, he's a really, really fast, small running back. Kind of reminds me of Warwick Dunn. So I hope one of those running backs we're able to spend in the free agency and bring him to the New York Jets. Now, the wide receiver position. I'm the type of guy that I want my first draft pick to go to Amari Cooper. I think right now we're sitting on Curley that we signed an extension to, so we're going to be in a longer marriage with him. Decker, we spent too much money on him for us to be able to move forward. I don't think there's any way we're going to, not continue with, Decker on our team. Although he had a rough year, I thought, for him to be considered or number one wide receiver, where I don't believe that's the case. He should be maybe second or third. Second. And he did have a really good game against Miami, but last game of the season, you're playing for Rex Ryan there. So, and then we got Percy Harvin, probably the only good thing John Idzik did, and that was a desperation move on his part. I don't think he really wanted to actually do that, but 8 games into the season, we're losing. We're probably not going to make the playoffs. He made that deal. So here's my thing is, if you're going to keep all those 3 wide receivers, if you get Amari Cooper, you're able to, allow him to be able to grow on the New York Jets, because you have weapons as well. But if you go out there and try to get Demetrius Thomas from Denver, I honestly don't see why there's any need for that draft pick. And I still don't think why you need all those 4 wide receivers, but if we have the cap space and if you want to go ahead and do it, that's fine. I think what that would bring is that would bring a lot of weapons to whoever a quarterback's going to be. But I think the smarter thing for us to do is to go through the draft, because Percy Harvin showed some really good signs, even though he wasn't in tune with the offense, because he was only with us half of the season. So that's the way I would do it. Hakeem Nicks is also available too, but that's also another option. As far as cornerbacks are concerned, I think a lot of people are, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's not the case, but a lot of people are making this whole entire cornerback position way bigger deal than it really is. And I know it's a big deal, but I think it can be an easy fix by, signing Cromartie, bringing Cromartie back. I know I made a video about Darrelle Revis coming back, but that was just a little funny video. I think Cromartie will, if we get him at the right price, we'll bring him in, and hoping Milner will be healthy next year. That's what I'm counting on with the way I'm planning this entire thing. Otherwise, we can go out there and draft a cornerback. I like Alex Carter from Stanford and Marcus Peters from Washington. So I think as far as veterans I'm concerned, Cromartie will be a really good deal. And he came out and said that, he never wanted to leave the Jets. Still don't know why we never re-signed him. The same thing I'm saying about Darrelle Revis. I know Revis came at a higher price, but you know, this is exactly what we're paying for. We're paying for that right now. So this is exactly what we're looking at. I don't think Geno Smith going forward should be our quarterback. These are the positions and players that I want to see on the New York Jets. Again, next season is not going to be a season of, you know, 10-6, 11-5. You know, I think, you know, 8-8, 9-7, even 7-9 sounds reasonable. As long as we don't have another 4-12 season, I'm totally okay with it. I think one of the biggest things you want to look at is, you know, team's progression is always based on your the division that you're in. Right now, the Buffalo Bills, to me, as much as I love Rex Ryan, again, like I said in my other video, he put himself in the same position he was with the New York Jets, put himself in a his comfort spot of defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there and has a New York Jets reunion with Mark Sanchez back on the team. He's just that type of a guy. I think the Buffalo Bills will regress from the season they had. It all depends how the Super Bowl ends for the New England Patriots for us to be able to evaluate them next season. But I think the Miami Dolphins are going to be huge contenders again in the division. So again, I still think Miami and the New England Patriots are going to be ahead of the race next season. That's exactly why I feel like 7-9 to 8-8 sounds just about right for the New York Jets, because I do have tremendous amount of faith in Todd Bowles, and I think, you know, he's going to be able to do very well for the team, and I hope, you know, we can see ourselves back in the playoffs, not next season, but the season after it. So, guys, leave me your comments, leave me your, you know, feedback and things like that. Tell me what you think of the draft and the free agency. This is just a twist to kind of throw in there just because I'm a USC fan and I watched, you know, USC against Nebraska. And then after I watched that game, I came across a guy named Amir Abdullah from Nebraska. He's a running back. You know, if for some weird reason we're able to, you know, not get someone in the free agency and want to take a shot at a running back, I'm not saying I would, but if this is the case, he's definitely the guy to do it. You know, one thing we're able to do with the Jets with Curtis Martin was we had that 1-2 punch with the quarterback and the running back. We've never had good quarterbacks when Curtis Martin was, or running back. You know, Chad Pennington and Vinny Testaverde were our guys. But, you know, the running back was able to take so much pressure off the quarterback. So I think, you know, if we can really position a good running back within our team, even a guy like Geno Smith is able to just do fine. If we ask him not to do too much, you know, that's something that we can always look at. So again, guys, leave me your comments. We're definitely going the right direction as far as the Jets are concerned, but this is just kind of my perspective on the players we should get and why Geno Smith shouldn't be in a position that he is next season. So subscribe, comment, and like. We'll see you guys on the next video.